Hey, hope everybody's doing well. It's Friday out here in Arizona. I just pulled up to Rudy's Barbecue. I'm gonna get a few burritos, breakfast burritos. If you have a Rudy's near you, I think it's like $2 or just over $2 for a really good breakfast burrito. They've got like brisket, they've got brisket, bacon, and sausage. All are really, really good. The point of this broadcast, I'll get right into it. And just like the text says, I'm fine. I'm not in a depression slump. I'm not suicidal or anything like that. But I ran out of my depression medication. I take 10 milligrams of Lexapro every single day, and I've been doing that since 2012. And I ran out, and it's my fault. My wife kept reminding me, hey, you got to get your doctor's appointment. They've got to renew your prescription. You got to get your doctor's appointment. They got to renew your prescription. And I kept forgetting. My doctor's office closes at 4. That's probably wise, because often it would be the end of the day when I would, want to call them and they'd already be closed. So anyways, I got a appointment scheduled for today, but at this point I've been off my medication for 4 days. And so I've had this question come into me because I'm very, I talk a lot about mental health as I know it. I'm not an expert, and a lot of people are different than me, but in terms of mental health as I know it, I like to share because it's not everybody that deals with it, but everybody knows someone or has someone in their life who deals with it to some extent, whether you know it or not. So what is it like when I've been off my medication? Like I said, at this point, I've been off my medication for 4 days, and I'm going to get my prescription filled today, and I'll get back on my medication. Day 1, when I'm off my medication, is no different. So if it's a Monday night and I've run out of my medication or I forget to take my medication, Tuesday is no different than Monday or Sunday or Saturday. Tuesday is a normal day. Tuesday rolls around, Tuesday evening, I take my medication at night. And if I don't take my medication again, the next day, emotionally, nothing changes, but chemically something changes. And I have these moments where the way I describe them is called loopiness. And so I'll be going out throughout my day, and then like in less time that it takes me to snap, it's not a blackout, but it's just a moment of like, if you're like, oh, I just got lightheaded. It's like that, but it's like to the extreme. So it's not just a moment of lightheadedness, but it's almost a moment of like lightheadedness to the point where you forget that 1/10 of a second. And so that's what I experience probably 15 to 20 times throughout the day on day 2 of missing my medication. On day 3 and day 4, so I'm on day 4 right now, on day 3 or day 4, it really starts to become difficult. It really starts to impact me in an adverse way, and in a way that starts to come out. Now, the way that it impacts me is different over time, so it kind of depends on the season that I'm in and what else is going on around me. So this time, the way that it has impacted me is that I'm not depressed. I'm not suicidal. I'm not having thoughts of suicide, which that does happen, sometimes once a year, sometimes once every 2 years. I get into a mode where I start thinking that way. And when I think that way, you have to understand this about people who have mental health issues and the way they perceive the world around them. The way that I perceive the world around me when I am in a depressed mode, it is not reality, but it's real to me. And so what I hear, what I see, what I feel, it is a distorted version of the truth. It's actually a lie, but it feels like the truth to me, and my mind can't see past 24 hours past that moment, 36 hours, 48, a week, 2 weeks, a month. I can't see past that. People with mental health, I can't speak for all of them, but from what I've heard from others, like you can't see past that moment. So you hear these lies of you're not worth this, or for me, for being an entrepreneur, oh, no one's going to hire you. Who would trust you? You hear these things and they're lies and they're not true, but you can't see past it. You feel like this is really the truth, that no one's going to hire me as an entrepreneur, or my wife doesn't care about me, or my kids are just trying to make me mad. And so when I'm in a depressed state, And like that's when those thoughts really become intense. This time right now, so I'm 4 days without my medication. This time right now, and if you're wondering why I'm without my medication, you can go back and watch the beginning. But this time right now, it's a good season. It's a really, really good season. I have a lot going on and a lot of balls to juggle, but it's a good season, yet I'm 4 days without. So what does that feel like? What it feels like for me this time is I have a much shorter fuse. So I'm not listening. I'm not hearing lies. I'm not hearing, and for those of you, like, I'm a Christian, and so we call lies, we call them from the enemy. We believe, as Christians, we believe that there are spiritual forces out there that battle against us and try to move us away from God and being one with him and knowing who he is and giving our lives to serving back to him. So if you don't believe in Jesus, that's fine. But for me, those lies, they come from the enemy. And so I have a much shorter fuse. I'm not hearing lies, but I have a shorter fuse to where things just push me over the edge a lot more quickly. So, so an example would be if my kids come in and they're loud behind me, hundreds of times that can happen. If you're a parent, you know that happens hundreds of times every month. You can't even count the number of times. It pushes me over the edge. And I'm just like, get out of the room. Or I'll say to Sandra, can you just get them out of here? And that fuse gets lit and ignited and explodes a lot more quickly. And I don't know why that is. Maybe that's, I haven't heard anybody else kind of say that that's their experience, those who have mental health issues. But for me, that's my experience. My fuse gets lit and it explodes a lot more quickly. Another thing that happens is I have constant dizziness throughout the day. Not to the point where I shouldn't be driving like I'm driving right now. Not to that point. It's not like a vertigo, but it's just like, think about a headache that doesn't hurt, but feels weird. That's what it's like. And I have that constantly throughout the day, which limits my ability to focus. So my ability to sit down and focus on something, and I think I've got some level of ADD, but my ability to sit down and focus on something, that's gone. Because as I'm even sitting here right now, like every 70 seconds or something, I kind of feel like this, like, oh. And so it just kind of, it's throughout the day. So not only do I have a shorter fuse, and so I get ignited much more quickly, I have a shorter attention span, and I have an inability to focus. And that affects how I interact with the people around me. One of the things that I love about Sandra is that we have been dealing with this for 7 years now, and she has really sought to love me and understand me and love me in my sickness, right? Like in sickness and in health. So she's really sought to love me in my sickness and my ill moments, and to do things that bless me, and to do things that that won't set me off. So if the kids come in, she'll know I need to get the kids out of here. Like, he's in a mode right now, I need to get them out of here. Or if she knows that food, she'll make food that I like, or she'll suggest we go out, or she'll be more willing when I say, like last week I was having just a off weekend, and I said, hey, can I just go out and get a hamburger? She said, sure. So I went out, I went to In-N-Out Burger, and I had myself a hamburger. So all you people on the East Coast, jealous. So anyways, it affects people differently, but I get the question a lot. What is it like when you've been off your medication? Like, how do you feel? I feel loopy on day one. Day one is fine. I feel loopy on day two, where I get these lightheaded moments 15, 20 times throughout the day. On day three and into day four, I have a short fuse. Things set me off a lot more quickly. I can't focus, and I have a recurring, it's not a headache, but the best way I can describe it to somebody who doesn't have it is a headache that doesn't hurt. It's this function happening in your brain that is just uncomfortable. And it almost feels like if you've been awake, here's a good example. If you've ever been awake for more than 24 hours and you feel that pulsating behind your eyeballs, like up above your eyes and just behind your eyeballs, like that's what it feels like. Connected to kind of like some weird discomfort in your head. That's for me. Everybody's different. And one of the things that I really, here's the struggle that I have when I talk about depression, is mine is very light. I was having a conversation with a girl about 3 months ago, and she said, can you tell me your story about mental health and depression? Because she's right there with me. And so I shared with her, and I shared how I started contemplating suicide. This was 2012. I started contemplating suicide. I started thinking these lies that felt like truths. Started thinking like Isaiah and Sandra will be fine. My mom, my dad, my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, like my family, they'll all take care of Stephen and Sandra. And it will be better if I'm not here. And they won't miss me. Guys, that's such a lie, but it feels like the truth to somebody like me who's in the mode of depression. The lie is the truth when you are going through depression. So when you are talking to somebody else who's going through depression or a level of anxiety, things like that, don't expect to break through with the truth because they can't see it. When I'm going through that mode, I cannot see the truth. And so you coming along and saying, well, that's not true, you should just do this, it doesn't help. And you're trying to help. And so, like, I acknowledge that. But we cannot see the truth. And so what it is like you have to figure out different angles to come at people to love them and to show them. And number one, make sure they get help. Go see a physician. If they haven't been diagnosed, if they have never been diagnosed or not been diagnosed, make sure you go see a physician. So in 2012, that's how I felt. And so I got a very light medication. My medication is 10 milligrams a day of a drug called Lexapro. So I'm sharing my story with this gal, and I said, and so I went to see my physician. 5 months earlier, he said that when I did a mental assessment just through a series of questions, he goes, ideally, we would like for you to answer this on these questions. You answered this, which means you are a candidate for depression. I'm not going to prescribe you anything today, but if you ever start having thoughts about suicide, if you ever find it difficult to get out of your bed and get motivated more than 2 days in a row, he's like, I need you to come back and see me. So I went back to my doctor and I said, hey, Dr. Turner, like, I'm thinking about suicide. I have no motivation. All I want to do is lay in bed. He goes, let's go ahead and get you on some medication. We'll start light and then we'll see how that does. It'll take about 7 to 14 days for it to kick in. And guys, 7 days in, I was a different person. A different person than that. I was a true version of myself. I felt like myself again. And I'm sharing this story with this girl, and I said, so I went from feeling like a completely different person, someone who I wasn't, back to a true version of who I really was. Do you know what that's like? And she looked back at me and she says, no, I don't know what that's like. And she's been battling with it for a year. I think it might have even been longer. She says, no, I don't know what that's like. And that's the thing. I try to keep in perspective that I'm very light. And so when I share my experience, you can't take my experience and everything that I'm sharing and just pick it up and drop it down and apply that to somebody in your life who deals with mental health issues or depression or anxiety or panic attacks or whatever you fill in the gaps with. Like, you can't pick it up and just drop it. But what you can do is you can ask questions. What you can do is you can do things that you know they appreciate. And so I try to maintain that perspective that I have a light version of depression, but at the same time, it's real. And so everybody's, I don't like saying this phrase because I think, like, with paganism and like, politically correct and stuff like that, it gets misconstrued. So I'm not talking about some amoral, you create your own morals ways when I say this. Your truth in depression is your truth. And my truth in depression is my truth. Meaning, what I experience is the pinnacle of what I'm capable of experiencing, and it's bad. And in the same way, this other person, so here's the pinnacle for both of us. Their pinnacle is there, like, it's the same, but it's different, right? Like, it's the pinnacle of struggle, but it's a different struggle. So I hope that makes sense. I haven't ever landed on a way to actually say it that makes a lot of sense. But what I'm getting at here is when I share my experience of here's what it's like when I'm depressed, Here's what it's like when I'm off my medication. Here's what it's like when I feel like I'm going into a depression. That's going to be a different experience for other people. So you can't say, well, Dave says this, so this is what it's going to be for this person. No, like that's why there's different medications out there. And that's why there's different dosages of those medications. That's why you'll have people change medications. And that's just the worst. That is the worst, because not only are you unhealthy with a chemical imbalance inside your body, but now you're doing the good thing of trying to figure out, okay, how do I balance this out by putting like drugs inside your body, and they're not working. And you're having to change the amounts, and you're having to change the types. And sometimes it's a month long, 2 month long, 6 months long. Sometimes it's a year process. Sometimes it's even longer than that. So here's the deal. The reason why I share this is not because you and me need to go out there and treat other people like I'm explaining my experience. That's kind of the antithesis of what I would encourage. The reason I'm sharing this is to give you a perspective from someone like me who's in a good spot right now, and who has taken the last 7 years to form a good relationship with those people around me so that I have a good support system. It's not a support system that was built overnight. Sandra doesn't understand it. And she even says to me, she's like, when you're in a mode and you are needy, and not needy in a bad need, like I'm a Christian. I need Jesus. The only need that I have in my life is needing Jesus. Like, needy is not bad. When you're needy, she says, you have to also give me permission to sort through that and to feel the emotions of your neediness. I'm going to respond the right way. But when you come at me and say, I need to go away for a few days, she's like, that impacts me. And I have an emotional response to that. But she trusts me. She knows if I'm asking for it, I need it, because I don't just falsely, I don't abuse it. I'm pretty in tune with myself at this point. Hopefully that will, continue. So it's a support system that's been developed. So when you've got people in your life, you can't fix them. You can't make them better. You can't change them. That's only done through the provision we've been given by God in medical professionals and medication and the Holy Spirit. And I say that last part with the Holy Spirit very, I'll put a pause on that, because there is a misnomer that if you have mental health, a misunderstanding that if you have mental health issues, it's because you don't have the Spirit in your life. And people I know and love so much have believed that in the past. And it's not true. And I don't fault them for it. And I love them through it. And I just say, that's not true. Here's why it's not true. But you do need God in your life. You do need the Creator to care for the creation in order for the creation to live as the creation was designed to live. So it is a combination of health professionals. It is a combination of medication, drugs to help level out a scientific biochemistry imbalance inside your body. It is the Creator working on the creation, and it is the support of people around you. And so I don't have a summary for this, something like, and because of this, you should do 1, 2, 3. There is no solution to mental health, depression, anxiety. There's no solution. There is only ongoing care, love, and support. And so hopefully by me sharing my story, it gives you a little bit of insight into, number one, yourself. If you feel like you don't have something to offer, if you feel like you are not worth anything and you don't have value, I just have to tell you that's a lie. And the only thing you can do is to go see a professional, to see a doctor. You need to do that. I'm not going to try to fix you. The people around you aren't going to be able to fix you. The only thing you can do for yourself at that point is to go see a professional and let them help you see this is what's going on with your body, and here's how we can take care of that. Here's how we can address that, not take care of it. Here's how we can address that and get you back to a truer version of yourself. It might take a day, it might take a week, it might take a month, it might take 6 years, but you have worth, you have value, you have something to contribute, and we want to get you back to that version of yourself where you can see what everybody else sees. So number one, if you feel suicidal, if you feel like you have no motivation, if you continually tell yourself that you have no worth, that nobody cares about you despite whatever might be around you, please go see a professional. If you want to talk about it, like, I'll talk with you. I'm a safe person, I think, to talk to. And number two, if you have people in your life like that, learn how to love them and learn how to support them through it. Be a learner. Do not try to fix them. The only way my wife fixes things, and it's not a fix, the only way she fixes things is by supporting me in the ways she's learned to support me. And those are unique to me because I'm a unique person. And they'll be unique to you because you are a unique person. She has learned how to support me through the moments of struggle, through the moments of feeling no worth, no value, and she leans into those when she can tell that I need it or when I tell her I need it. And that's what you can do. Learn to love the people around you the way they need to be loved, and then do it without being asked. So, if you're married and you got kids and you have a spouse who's going through some shit, get some time alone with them if you know they want time alone with you. Find a sitter. Find somebody to watch the kids. And go out. Take them to their favorite restaurant. For me, that works. I don't know if that would work for them. Take them to their favorite restaurant. Go see a movie. That's for me. Go see a movie. Get together with your best friend. That's for me. That's what I do. I go spend time in California with my buddy Juno. That's for me. So what would it be for them? What do they enjoy? What fills them up? What helps them feel more like themselves? What normalizes their situation? So if anybody has any questions, I'm always willing to take questions live, but I know a lot of times folks will have questions, not right now, but later on down the road. So you can message me at any point in time, just on Facebook Messenger. I'm on it all day long. That's how I communicate with a lot of my clients. I'm on Facebook Messenger all day. And I would love to be able to just listen to you, hear what's going on. If I have something that might be helpful, I'll share it. But at the very least, you've got someone who will listen and someone who understands. Can't fix anything, but I can point you to the solutions of folks who can fix things, or who can help you get on a road to feeling more like yourself. So again, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but sometimes these questions are best answered in privacy as you're sorting through them and trying to figure out what you think. Sana and I, we talk about politics a lot. I want to talk about politics so much on social media, and I don't, because I have greater things that I'm going after than trying to convince someone to think and believe the way I think and believe through a comment section. Think about that the next time you want to post something political or pick a fight with someone. You've got bigger things to do than that. But Sana and I have all these conversations, and I say things to her about race, gender, sexuality, socioeconomic status, pro-life, pro-choice. We talk about things, and I say things to her that I would never say out loud because I'm trying to figure out in my mind what I think, what I believe, and how to articulate it to somebody else in a way that is loving and truthful. Sometimes you need that same type of safe environment to share how you are feeling, to share how you are thinking, so that you can get those thoughts out and begin to sort them out. So that when you go to that person in your life who has a mental health issue, a mental health condition, that you say the thing that you mean to say, not the thing that you just comes to mind and they misinterpret it, or vice versa. If you are experiencing a mental health issue and you're afraid to go to people who love you because they'll look at you different, sometimes you just need someone to hear you talk so you can get all of that word vomit out on the table and you can start to sort it through, put it in order, throw out the stuff that doesn't make sense, pull in and double down on the things that, yes, that's how I'm feeling. So if you need that, let me know. I'm here to listen. That's it. Make sure you share this with people who you know need to hear a separate voice. Yeah, that's really the point of this. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you letting me share, and I hope this has helped you take one step closer to understanding your own mental health and understanding the feelings, thoughts, and emotions that somebody in your life with mental health concerns, how they're feeling about it. That's really all I hope to achieve with this. So love y'all. Thank you so much. And if you need me, I'm here for you. Have a good day.